Welcome to the CarGurus UK review of the Citroen C5X. Now, dear viewer, this is normally the moment where I tell you what a car is and what its rivals are. That is a bit tricky with the C5X because it is all sorts of different things. It's a big Citroen, which I'm very pleased to see back on the roads. But even by Citroen's own description, it is an estate, it's an SUV, and it's a saloon. So it's kind of a mashup of all of those things. It starts from £27,000 in the UK for the 1.2 petrol, or the plug-in hybrid that's certain to be very popular with company car buyers starts from around about £35,000. And given the spread of that pricing, given the sort of slightly confusing classification of this car, you could say that it's a rival for everything from your VW Golfs and your Peugeot 308s, right up to your family SUVs like your Tiguan's and your 3008, even if, actually, the traditional rivals to this car is almost certainly the Volkswagen Passat and Skoda Superb. So there you have it. It's got rivals aplenty. But before we go on to have a closer look at the Citroen C5X, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos. Whatever you choose to call it, the Citroen C5X is an intriguing looking car. There's an unmistakable ruggedness in the plastic body cladding, while if I had to choose one particular class to shoehorn it into by looks alone, I'd say the rear end and profile of the car look appealingly estate-like, rather than SUV or hatchback. If you go for the plug-in hybrid Citroen C5X, you'll find the Type 2 socket on the flank of the car. Plugging it into a normal 7kW home wall box will deliver a full charge in 2 hours, which is faster than standard charge time that many plug-in hybrid rivals offer, but it is the fastest charge that you'll get regardless of how powerful the Type 2 charge point might be that you plug into, since the car is limited by its 7.4kW onboard charger. So, one of the joys of estates is that you get really nice low load lip. That's why I actually think that estates generally are more practical than an SUV. So it's definitely going to be easy to kind of lug a really heavy item into the boot here, and you have got a really good boot space too. In fact, Citroen reckons that you can get a washing machine in the back of this car without dropping the rear seats. I have to say, we're on the international launch in Barcelona at the moment. I haven't packed my washing machine, so I can't actually verify that myself. You're going to have to take Citroen's word for it. Certainly, it's a really good sized boot. So the rear seats in the Citroen C5X, they're pretty good actually. Access is really good. It's got quite a nice long door, so that's definitely good. It is a fairly high floor, and I do think that perhaps it could do with a little bit more headroom. So if you're a tall adult, I think you might find you sort of feel a little bit hemmed in. But generally, space back here is really good. There's quite a low tunnel in the middle, so even if you're sat in the middle, you're going to be reasonably comfortable. My biggest gripe really is that it's a bit dark in here, even though this car's got the sunroof as well. So I think because it's quite a sort of narrow window. Other than that, honestly, it's quite a comfy place to sit, and you've got your USB inputs at the back here as well for charging your devices. It's very nice up front in the Citroen C5X as well. I can see why they're pitching it as sort of an executive-like car as well, because it does feel really good up here. I think the materials, particularly in this top spec, the Shine Pack model, really nice. I like the little details like the chevrons sort of stitched into the leather up here. I like the sort of tactility of these materials up here. It's just really nice. It's a bit different, and the actual architecture of the dash is quite simple. It's sort of horizontal line. It's all very nice. I also really like the fact that you get these straightforward climate control buttons down here, parking sensors and camera, keyless entry, auto lights and wipers, and 19-inch alloys are all standard on every version of the C5X, or you can step up the range for things like wireless phone charging, heated seats and steering wheel, leather upholstery, and there are options including massage seats and head-up display. Entry-level cars get a 10-inch screen, but the rest of the range gets the 12-inch screen. It's actually really very good. I like the fact that it's got a standard home button which brings you back to this screen. It's got mobile phone style swipe technology, so you swipe across and you've got your application drawer here with all your bits and pieces in it. So you get your wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, you get your nav, digital, radio, all your music streaming, all of that stuff. I think it's a pretty good system. I like the fact that you can rest your fingers on the ledge here, and that makes it a bit easier to hit it precisely when you're driving. I think generally it's pretty good. I do think the driver's readout in here, of course, if you've got the big head-up display, then that's really good. I think this is quite basic otherwise as a driver's readout, so you can't change it to give you, for instance, even a rev counter or something like that. I know that's a bit old school, but I quite like a rev counter. And so there you go. I just think it would be beneficial to perhaps improve the amount of information that you can have and have different varied views. That's one area where I do think this feels a little bit behind some of its rivals. So the thing that I want to find out most about the Citroen C5X is whether it's Citroen-y enough for what you feel it should be, given how quirky and cool it looks from the outside. Because I do think this thing looks cool, and I do think it's got some real appeal to it. But it's a big, funky Citroen, and so it needs to have that sort of star quality to the way it drives. And in many respects, I think Citroen's kind of nailed it, especially with the suspension, because of course it's got that trademark, the Citroen hydraulic cushion suspension, plus on top of that, electrically controlled adaptive dampers if you go for the higher spec cars, which we've got on our test car here. I like the fact that Citroen have made this car with the intention of it being unashamedly comfort oriented. And it is exactly that. It's got a really nice long wave loping ride comfort. I mean, I've spent this last week in a Mercedes S-Class, I know, get me. And the ride comfort in this, it's not far off a Mercedes S-Class. And if you can think of a greater compliment than that, then you're better than me. So Citroen have done a great job on that sort of the primary ride comfort in this car. Bump absorption, everything, really lovely. But I do have some bones to pick, because the problem is this is a comfort-oriented car, and for comfort you don't just need really spongy, lovely, wafty suspension, you need great control responses, and the brake pedal in this car, well, it's not great because you can feel the regenerative braking and the traditional friction brakes kind of shuffling about, and it changes the feel of the brake and the actual responses of the brake, so it can be a little bit hard to judge exactly how smooth your braking is going to be. It just needs to be a little bit more cohesive. Added to that, the 1.6 petrol engine in this plug-in hybrid powertrain, which is exactly the same powertrain as you get in the Peugeot 308 and the Vauxhall Astra. It's just quite a coarse engine, so if you use your paddles, whether you've stuck it in sport or not, if you wake up the petrol engine, it gets really coarse and boomy, sort of really, you can really feel it in the background. And even actually at idle, if the petrol engine's going, it won't turn off if it's in sport mode, which you toggle through on this mode button down here. It's really rackety. I'm surprised actually. It feels like, I've said this about this engine in the other cars as well, the Vauxhall Astra, this kind of thing, but this 1.6 petrol, it's not a brilliant engine. When it's in this plug-in hybrid form, it's not that bad, because when you're just driving around in hybrid or comfort or electric mode, lovely, really nice and quiet, and as long as you're not driving quickly or expecting too much of the 1.6 petrol, it's fine. But it's definitely not an engine that you enjoy driving hard. And because the steering, although actually it's not bad at all in its responses, it's very light and there's lots of body roll, the C5X as a whole is not a car that you particularly want to drive very hard. Honestly, I wish Citroen hadn't even given it a sport mode, because it just doesn't warrant it. It's not a car that needs it. It's not a car that feels good in sport mode. And it's, there you go, look, you got that proper, booming. And that's at odds with the rest of the car as well. That's why it's a bit frustrating, really. So there you have it, very much a comfort-oriented car. And if that's what you want, and I absolutely get why that would be what you want, then it is. It's not bad, but I wish that there was a bit more effort put into the powertrain and the control responses to actually kind of complete that comfort experience, because it's not just about suspension. Nonetheless, I do like the C5X, and I like the fact that it does feel quirky to drive, and I like the fact that it feels just a bit different to everything, really. I do think that when it comes to why you buy it, I think you buy it because it's a bit different, rather than because it's objectively better than other large plug-in hybrids out there. I have to say, I think the Passat GTE does drive better if you do like a slightly sporty car, and yet the Passat is also a comfortable car and a bit lighter and airier inside as well. But if you like that kind of the quirky, not an SUV looks of the C5X, and I totally get why you would, it's great. I wish they'd offered a four-wheel drive one. They don't have a manual or a diesel. I'll forgive them that, I can understand why. But I do wish they'd put four-wheel drive on it, because I feel like maybe the C5X would have picked up a little bit of the kind of cool, quirky, sort of Subaru almost four-wheel drive estate type market. I think there would be some appeal for that. Nonetheless, front-wheel drive only, and a very comfy, very cool, very charming car. And I like it for just being a bit different. That's really its star quality. Is it objectively better than other cars at the same price? I have to say probably not, but it's one of those cars that I'm very glad it exists, and I'm very glad that I do think there will be people in the UK that go out and buy it, because I can absolutely see why you would. don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars. And of course, you know what to do, dear viewers. Like the video, subscribe to CarGurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our lovely videos.